as much as we venerate the club as a holy ground of culture, it realistically is somewhere where we go to meet people. So how did that change, being on the other side of the booth, meeting people in that context? We'll go with Ell first.
I think like do you mean like meeting people in a romantic way? Yeah. Okay.
It's POM.
I feel like in a way everyone's like, oh, you're a DJ and you know you can get laid from a set, da da da. But I think it's kind of harder because if people do come up to you after a gig, it's more likely to just be like, oh, I really liked your set, like I like your music, and it's more done in a sort of like how I would go up to someone and say it. They're not doing it in a like trying to chat you up way. So I feel like sometimes it makes more of a barrier in a way. Whereas if you're just in the club as a punter, you're more likely just to be, everyone just sees you as like the same, do you know what I mean? And you're just like, we're just all normal people that want to, get chatted up. But yeah, sometimes I think, it's just, it's obviously a great way, and I've met loads of really great people, like just in terms of coming up and saying they enjoyed the set. But I think, yeah, it kind of maybe deters it in a way because it's more of a, not professional thing, but do you know what I mean? They just want to say they liked your set and then you go your separate ways and that's it.
For me, it's also a little bit, guys my age, when they're in the club, they've been going out for a bit longer, so they kind of know where boundaries lie just because they've been like embarrassed in the club before. And so what I get is like they'll come up and say that was sick, whatever, and then they'll message afterwards. Yeah. Or the guys that do come up to me are mad young, and I don't think they realize I'm a lot older. But I had it at Fabric, all these like really good-looking young boys come up to me. I was like, you'll get me arrested. Like, get away.
It's kind of being a DJ and a woman is a cock block.
Yeah.
It's straight up a cock block because in two prongs. I'll tell you, prong number one is that people will like want to bonk you for clout. They will just be like, look, this is sick, like, you're a DJ. At least in this case, like, they respect the fact that you're actually a DJ and you're a woman. God forbid those two things exist in the same universe. Or, if you're on, like, Hinge or whatever, all my, my female friends have all, like, had the same experience. If you have, mashallah, you got one photo of you behind the decks, like men's brains will explode, and they'll be like, are you, like, posing behind the decks? Is that so sick? Like, which one of your friends is a DJ? It's like, oh, yeah, like, that's so sick. You're, like, behind the decks for fun. And you're like, I shoved the DJ aside just to, like, fucking pose behind the decks. Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, it is a massive cock block. And like, people just see you as, like, and I've also had an experience where dudes will try to, like, date me to, like, get into the industry. And that will happen. That will actually happen. And, like, that's also not particularly nice. So, like, it's a bit difficult, I think. And my, like, rule of thumb has become, like, try not to date DJs.
I joined a dating app for the first time ever when we were in lockdown. So when we started in lockdown, fucked it, got into a relationship. What the fuck? Girls, don't be like me, okay? Learn from me, don't do that. And it was the first time I joined a dating app, and I always had this thing where I feel like I've had a really blessed career already so far before lockdown. But in London, no one really knew who I was. Like, UK wasn't really onto me like that. And on my radio show, it's every week, it's a specialist show, so it's music-based, but I talk about my personal life. It's the only place where I really give insight to what's happening, like also the non-fun stuff. Because I have like kind of this relationship with my listeners, and you're by yourself in the studio, so no one's actually looking at you, so you feel really comfortable talking. I also talk about my single life on the radio show. So I was talking about this one particular guy on this particular dating app that was just saying certain shit, and I didn't understand. It was just weird. This guy messages me. He goes, "Oh, so you felt the need to bait me out on your radio show?" I'm like, "Who the fuck even listens to my show, you weirdo?" And that's when I knew not to do that anymore either. So, again, don't be like me. He was fine as well, so I was like,
you two for dating apps? Has that been something you've explored, Rini?
Yeah. Like, okay, look, I have in the last few years had successful and unsuccessful relationships. When the old Hinge, never Tinder because that one weirds me out.
Are we allowed to mention other app names on this because it's being filmed and stuff?
POM's new. We're gonna take over.
yeah.
It's fine.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so like you know, I think that there's this weird thing around like other people in music, particularly men in music. Like I'm bi, but like I've primarily like had relationships with people who are in music that are men, and the weird thing is they're always trying to outcompete me. And they're always trying to outdo me, and they're always trying to make it into a dick swinging competition. And like it'll be like, oh, you're all right actually at mixing. Like we'll be doing a back to back or whatever people who do music do or whatever. And they'll be like, yeah, you're actually all right. And I'm almost like inventing the words, oh, for a girl, like in their head. I'm just like, oh, is that what you mean? And like. It's this weird thing, like dating other people who are also music creatives in the industry. Like, A, they all have the same Scorpio tattoo on their forearm, and B, I'm sorry for slandering all of London. I'm really just going out here with the shots, but like, and B, like, it turns into a weird competition because you're in the same industry. Like, if it's a DJ and another DJ, or like a producer and another producer, like, shit me. That turns into a weird thing because it's like, they could get your gigs, you could get their gigs. Now it's like suddenly you're in the same free market, and it's fucking weird. So like I've just made it a rule of thumb. Like I love people who love music because that's what I love, and like that's why I was like, oh, this is actually really interesting because I usually do seek out people who love music as much as I do, but I don't particularly seek out people in my industry. I think that's like that's what I've like learned from my very unsuccessful missions.